first off, we have the Naturalborn. That's all I know. I forgot his name fully. I'm gonna be honest with you, but he's the one that you fight during Ronnie's quest line.
I think it's Astel.
Yes, you're right, Astel. Thank you. So, we are rating these by how cool we thought the spectacle of the boss fight was. We are not grading it by difficulty, otherwise we'd almost, like, there would be so many in the S tier. I mean, there was a lot that I had problems with.
And it's already, like, really known who's the hardest bosses in Elden Ring by now, too.
There are... People figured out the bosses to where they're not really that big of a deal anymore. And I just think it's better to grade them based off how cool we thought the fight was. So, like I said, first we have Astel. So, I want to hear your thoughts first, and then I'll tell you how I feel.
Yeah, we're starting off with a really great one here, to be honest, because it was one of the best in the game. Like the color scheme, like the blue sky, not sky, the space, and it was all blue.
Yeah.
And stuff. It was really cool.
When you
his design with the skull.
When you walk in, the arena is so fucking huge, and he is way across the room. And you see him, and you're like, what the fuck is that? And then he shoots a beam at you right through his mouth, and it can insta-kill you just instantly. So he's a good start off, but I don't want to put him in S tier if I'm being honest. I think he's good, but we can move stuff around, like towards the end of the tier list and everything, or in the middle. But I want to sit him at A tier.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't say he's S tier, because compared to some of the other things that happen with the other bosses during the fights, is way cooler than what happens in this one.
All right, so put him in A tier. Next, we have the final boss. We have the Elden Dragon. So,
Thanks, Elden Beast.
Yeah, Elden Beast. Yeah, you're right. He's a giant finger dragon. When I was fighting him, I was like, "Whoa, what is that thing?" And then we died because I remember you helped me fight him.
Oh yeah. It was. It was weird because I didn't know what it was trying to be. It was just like a big blob to me when I first saw it. I really didn't know how it moved around the map, just like teleporting.
Yeah.
It made the big map thing of it, and made it less cool because just like how far he moved around. But like the sword he used and everything, that shit was so fucking cool.
Yeah. I felt bad for everyone who went like melee only class, like the people that did strength build. You know what I mean? Because they were trying to run up to this dragon with their giant hammers, and it was like teleporting and swimming across the map to the other side. By the time people got up to it, it was already like gone. You know what I mean? And it's not. It was this boss fight, like you said. It moved around a lot, and I liked the music though. I think the track was phenomenal.
Very angelic.
It was really good. I kind of want to put it in A tier.
Yeah. Definitely not an S tier. I would have to agree with you there.
So next, we have the Flame Giant.
I really like this guy personally with the big eyeball on his chest and how it switches to that next phase, and it's like he's like a volcano. And like the
Yeah.
lore to him is so fucking cool. How he's like the last dude up there. He has to protect that. And
Yeah.
it was honestly one of my favorite fights. It took me. I remember that boss fight being very hard, but I remember that one. Like I wasn't mad at it because of like how cool it was.
Yeah. It was it he was the boss that, like, originally I remember you and Blaze were hyping it up so much. You were like, stream it and just go in there. I was like, I just want to explore this real quick. And you were like, no, just go in there real quick and let us see what you do. So I walked in there and I was just expecting to like fight a boss just like head on, you know? And then I see this giant and I'm like, what the fuck do I do to this guy? Cuz at the time I was running the holy scythe and I was like, I can't fucking do shit to this fucker. So then I hopped on torrent and I just like I was trying to swing at him, but he kept doing that like roll shit, or he would like throw. It was what? It was like a shield, or it was like a metal disc. He just
Yeah, it was
kind
like a
of
big
one
metal
shot me.
plate. I don't know.
He just kind of one shot me as soon as I went in there. It took me a minute figuring out his fight pattern, but like you said, it was really cool. I liked the giant eyeball. I liked the lava. I didn't like him rolling around all the time though. You would get him right to the end of his like health bar, and then he would do that roll, and you just die.
That would be very annoying. I forgot about that roll.
So I don't want to put all of the bosses in A tier. I think he sits well in either B or C. What are you thinking?
I'd definitely say B.
Cause I don't think any of these bosses are really bad. I think the lowest this tier list will probably go is C or D. I don't think any of them are going to be F. And I say that as we come up on Godrick.
He is the first main boss, right?
Yeah.
That
Well,
was him.
after you get past the wall, you know
Isn't
what
there a separate one for that though?
I mean, yeah, he doesn't count. I'm talking about um God, I
This is the
forget his name.
one. I thought this was one at the very beginning.
It was, yeah, but I forget his name.
This is
It's
Morgott
been
and Morgott.
Yeah, there you go, Morgott. Morgott is the first wall that you have to get past, but he's not on this tier list. Only Morgott is. So this is Godrick.
Oh,
So
Godric! Oh my God!
I think,
Oh, I remember
honestly,
now.
yeah, the dragon arm.
The dragon arm.
The dragon arm.
That was so fucking cool. I remember I would go just like look on YouTube and just like people I watched like on YouTube and just like watch their reactions to that because I just thought it was so fucking cool.
It was
It
pretty
was easy
fucking
to learn
hype.
too.
It was pretty hype. I ain't gonna lie. When I was fighting him and he went and he chopped his arm off mid boss fight, I was like, what the fuck is he doing? Like, you start beating him up, right? And then all of a sudden you see his sword come up and you're thinking he's going to slash at you. And he chops his arm off, and then that's the beginning of like the cutscene. And he looks at the arm and you can see it's bleeding and everything. And he just goes up to the dead dragon, just takes its head, and it just comes to life and on his arm. I was like, what the fuck is going on? That was some Dark Souls ass shit, dude. Like, that was crazy.
I'd definitely say that's S tier worthy.
I
Doesn't the
think
start of the game really like set things off for you?
it
'Cause
set
you
the
got
mood. It really
yeah,
sets the mood for the beginning of that game. Because after you get past Morgott, which is like we were talking about, the wall. You know what I mean? He's like the hurdle. You have to try to
the
level
castle.
yourself up, get used to it, to get into that castle. And then you're going through that castle, you're getting your ass kicked in that castle, and you're like, what's all this going to lead to? And then you find this fucker. And he's got all of them fucking arms, and he's just rolling around with that giant axe. And just, it was pretty hype. It was pretty fucking hype.
I'd
So
say S tier.
next we have the
Yeah.
previous Elden Lord. I
Orlu.
yeah, I couldn't pronounce
Something
it.
like that.
It's like Horlu. I'll try to put like the actual pronunciation like in the video somewhere like after this. But he is the giant. People like to call him the wrestling boss because if you get grabbed, he's slamming you. But in the beginning, when he had that lion on him, remember the lion?
Yeah.
I thought that lion was gonna be so dope and so cool, and
Yeah,
was gonna
definitely
be
thought
like, I thought he was gonna pull it off of his back and throw it, and you would have to fight both of them. When I first seen him tearing it off of him, I thought you were just gonna have to fight both, right? And he killed it. He ripped it off because he was like, I don't need this, and then he fought you with his bare hands.
yeah, he pretty much just took his clothes off
Yeah.
and got really mad.
he
I
he
really,
beat the
yeah,
shit
like you
out
said,
of
I
him.
thought he was gonna pull out the fucking lion, tiger, whatever it was.
Yeah, the
And
lion.
it'd be one of those double boss fight type things going on.
Mm-hmm.
But no. Oh yeah, I remember that being a little bit of a letdown, but it still was a very cool fight. Like getting towards the end of the game, fight like an actual human instead of all these fucking weird ass beasts and shit.
Yeah.
I'd say B.
I also think he's B tier. I don't think he's as cool as the other bosses up in A or S. I don't think so. I think he's on par with the fire giant.
Yeah.
Now, if his shade was here, that shade that you fight before you get up to Morgott, you know what I'm talking about, where it's like his golden form or whatever, and you're in that doorway, I'd
Yeah.
have gave that a F. If that was on here, I'd have gave that a F because that shadow like thing was awful.
Whack.
I remember killing it instant. But next, we have I think it's the Leech Dragon, and you said this was the one that you didn't fight because
The
this is the
only
one.
one.
Yep, this is the one that you have to
Thea's quest.
do. You have to do Fia's quest line, and the story with this boss was you had Godwyn, who was the one that like left the plague everywhere, like the death root everywhere. You've seen it everywhere. You go down underground, you find where Godwyn's body or what's left of it is rotting, and you see Fia, and she's next to this portal, and you're like, what is this doing here? So you go into it thinking, it's probably just takes you somewhere random. No, it's just straight boss fight with this fucker. And apparently the lore is this dragon and Godwyn got into a fight and Godwyn beat it. So the dragon was like, "Hey, you're cool. Let's be bros." and, and that's the story of the dragon. So it was an okay boss fight. I think the arena was really small for the boss fight that this took place in, if I'm being honest. And a lot of the fights that I've seen, including mine, were done at the exit. Like, you just kind of sat in the corner and just attacked the shit out of this dragon. You know what I mean? It wasn't one of those things where it moved a lot. You just kind of just had to keep hitting it and hitting it. I would place it in C tier. I don't think it was a bad boss fight, but I think for the Godwin questline, I think it should have been better. Because that whole thing with Godwin is fucking sick. That whole Godwin story, if you've ever like watched a video on it or read the lore with the whole Godwin, the Golden, and everything like that, it's so hype. But then you fight this boss, and it's supposed to take place of Godwin, and it's just not as good as the other fights, if I'm being honest. But next, we have the hardest boss in the game. So, what do you have to
Except for one
say?
guy.
What do you have to say about
Malenia?
what do
Malena?
you have to say
The
about
Blade of
Malenia?
Miquella.
Yeah, the Blade of
She,
Miquella.
story-wise and cool-wise, she has to be one of the fucking coolest, dude. The whole plot between her and Radahn fighting and her causing a scar rattle over Kaled. Just her whole lore is cool as shit. Like the fucking, just like the way she like fucking just uses her katana and just like swings it around like fucking effortlessly. You know what I mean? And she like just
She,
talks her shit on the Blade of Miquella, not
yep.
never known defeat. She just like acts like she's that bitch. And she really was. She fucked everyone up.
She, yeah,
Except for one guy.
she fucked everyone up except for one guy, the man, the myth, the legend. I forgot his name.
Let me
And
solo her.
yeah, there you go. I'm gonna be honest with you. I remember the boss fights. I don't remember these names like that. But
I definitely wouldn't put her in S tier though. Just because the like arena was just like you're in a I think you're in the tree. Like the root
you
of
are
the
in
hell.
the tree. Yep.
Yeah. And it was not enough room. It definitely was not enough room. Tell you
There
that
wasn't
fucking much.
enough room. No.
I,
But she wasn't like a giant boss either. Like these other bosses that had giant arenas, they were huge. She was about your size. She was the size of the player character, just beating the shit out of you with a sword, like you were saying.
I definitely say A tier in the back.
You think you think she's
Uh, maybe B actually.
mm,
Like story wise, not story lore wise. She's pretty fucking cool. But she's not a fucking dragon, you know what I mean?
yeah, and she's not her intro wasn't like Godrick's, but she did beat the shit out of him. I want to say back of A. I agree with your first one.
I would say she's like as cool as Hoarah Loux though, you know what I mean? So I could see her being in
Yeah,
here too.
I think I want to put her in A.
Okay.
Her fight was hype. Her fight was hype. But we have Maliketh, right?
Maliketh. The
Maliketh.
Black Blade, Dark Blade?
The black blade, yes. So I think this is one of the best fights in the game.
It really is.
I
His
think it's
boss fight
hype.
is a definition of going from 0 to 100.
Especially if you do his quest in Caelid when he's sitting in that little like church and he's looking for the death root and you go to feed it to him. If you feed him all of that and then you fight him beforehand, he like he realizes it's you. And he says something before you fight him. And I think it was hype. Like
It was, and you know me, Melvin. I'm a big Berserk guy, and this guy is just motherfucking guts.
yeah, he is.
And
That's
for that
just
reason, I would have to put him in S tier,
I also would have to put him in S tier.
top
His
S tier.
fight was good. His character was good. And lore wise, his character was the most loyal and didn't do anything wrong. Everyone else did something wrong. He was the only one that did nothing wrong. Now we have Mohg. So, do you have any words about Mohg?
This motherfucker was tough.
Yeah.
Well, we're not rating him on a tough scale. It was fucking hard though. He's definitely one of the hardest ones for me.
So,
But cool wise though, this motherfucker definitely is cool as shit compared to like everyone else here. Just like cut everyone off. I think I don't really know the lore too much, but just like went in his own thing kind of. I don't really know to be honest. Isn't that what he did?
I'm going to be honest with you. I had the Holy Scythe and I spammed my special the entire match and stun locked him until he died. He did not get to second phase. I did not allow him to get to second phase because the moment he did, and he did that thing that drains your health, where he pulled his put his spear in the air and did that like 3 times, and it took your health away. I was like, nah, bro, you're just getting stunned, and I stun locked him and killed him like right away. He was tough though when me and you fought him again. When I fought him by myself, I stun locked him. When me and you fought him and I got to fight the second phase, I was like, yeah, I see why people struggled with this guy. And his second form, I'm upset that I skipped the second form because when he gets those wings, dude, it's so fucking cool.
Yeah, definitely. Like looking at him, he's definitely one of the best like design characters. Just definitely looks the coolest, most fucking badass. His weapon is cool as shit. A trident. Holy
Mm-hmm.
shit.
Yep, he is. He is a child predator though. He was doing things with his half brother. It was underage. It was kind of fucking weird. But we won't talk about that.
What
We
would you
won't
put him?
talk about that. I would put him. I with my first boss fight, I stun locked him. A lot of people did because they didn't like the second tier when he would change to his second form, and he would do that blood thing. But when me and you fought him the second time, we were hype as shit to fight him. I want to put him in the front of B.
He is very cool. I he definitely is way cooler than the giant. Definitely not as cool as Malenia though. But I want to say B. I'd definitely say the back of A. He's definitely up there for me.
All right, I will put him in the back of A. Only, well, because I didn't really get to fight the actual fight. I fought a different fight than what most people actually did. And now we got Morgott. So what you got on Morgott?
This is probably one of the most underwhelming bosses in the game because I thought it was just the other dude when I first played it. I still thought it was when we started the video, but yeah, and it was right at the base of the Earth Tree, and then you find out you can't even go in it after beating him. It
Yeah,
was just it
that
was a
was
big letdown.
upsetting. That was upsetting. I his fight wasn't even that difficult because you fought him before. You fight Morgott in the beginning of the game, and when you come back and you fight him, his first phase is just that again. You know what I mean? It's just Morgott again. And then on top of that, there's another place on the map where you fight his shade again. So you can fight him 3 different times in the game. And by the time I got to the base of the was it the Erd tree? The Erd tree? Um I knew what he was going to do. There was no change. And then on top of that, they let you spawn in help, which just he aims for the entire match. Cause you get Melina. You can get Melina, or if you go the crazed the crazed route, you get the other guy. The guy, the evil, the fire, the crazy. But usually most people fight him with Melina, and he tends to just focus all of his attacks on her, giving you time to just heal and beat the like crap out of him the entire fight. I want to put him in C tier. Where would you put him? Would you put him lower or C
I
tier?
put him in D tier. I was gonna say D tier.
D tier. I mean, I agree because like we said earlier, you fight him in the very beginning of the game, and you just fight him so often that his moves don't really change too much. So next we have, in my opinion, the hypest boss in the game.
Dragonlord Placidusax, I think his name is.
Yes,
I don't
Dragon.
know if I told you this, but he's my favorite boss in the game.
Whoa. He was also one of my favorites. Because when you get to that arena and you see him just sitting there in the air, and you're like, what is that? And you know you're going to be fighting it. And then he opens his wings and just goes off. And then when you get his health down enough and he does that burst where he just explodes, it is the probably the coolest part of the entire game. At least it was for me in the entire game.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Belman, but Elden Ring was like such a moment in gaming for me. I was remember just like waking up and like going to work and remember just like can't wait to get home to play fucking Elden Ring. And I remember just like waking up every day and just like going like at work just like looking through fucking just like Elden Ring shit, just like at gameplay and shit, fucking through Instagram Reels and YouTube. And it was
Oh
just like
yeah.
dope fucking like with the community. I just like wake up one day and I just like see that there's a secret boss over here and I just walk over there and there's a fucking path down there. I'm like, what the fuck? That was just I just remember it being like the coolest shit I've ever fucking experienced.
He is definitely the boss that I remember a lot of people didn't find originally, and it sucks that they didn't find him right away, because like you said, he's really good. It's such a good fucking boss fight, and it's just over to the side too. It's just a little trail to the side, and if you don't go that way, you just don't fight him. There's nothing pointing to his direction. Nothing points to this boss fight. You just find it. And then when you do, you're greeted to one of the greatest spectacles in Elden Ring.
Yeah, like you literally go back in time You fight a 3-headed dragon. You fucking, well, it's like teleporting and shit, fucking dodging lightning, and this like coliseum that's floating in a tornado. Tell me, like, what gets better than that?
As you like attack him, he literally transforms into a lightning cloud that will dive bomb to try to attack you. Like he just disappears and becomes a lightning cloud. That's how fucking cool he is.
I'd say S tier.
I I I I want to put him right now at the top of S tier.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm gonna leave him there. But next we have like okay, it's not the last boss, but it's the last boss of the game.
I did really like him. I liked his moveset a lot. I thought it was a little underwhelming at first,
All right, I
but then I
can't really.
realized it was a two-parter.
Yeah, he's a he's disappointing. A very like his
I was just
boss
like,
fight was hard as shit though.
why am I fighting Thor right now?
Yeah, that's what it felt like. It felt
I
like
was
you were
more
just
confused
fighting
if
Thor.
anything.
Yeah, it it's just I didn't think he was like as cool as the Flame Giant. I didn't think like his whole fighting scheme was just, you know what I mean? Because you can
I
just
guess
beat
so.
him up.
I like the like lightning hit in the ground kind of thing. The AOE attacks. It was fun to learn to dodge for me at least.
Yeah,
Because his fight felt really satisfying to learn.
yeah.
But
I did have to
uh,
fight him more than once.
he definitely wasn't like that cool though.
Nah,
I'd have to
I
say C.
I also want to put him in C. Now we got Radahn. Probably the one of like all of these boss, almost every single one of these boss. Okay, all the ones in the S tier were giant spectacles, right? This man, Radahn, had a fighting festival and was like, "Hey, I want to hold a festival and die as a warrior, and I want all of you to come at me all at once." How did you feel
Like
about
holding up
that,
all the
Carson?
stars from them to holding up all the stars from them crashing on the lands between, and that's how Astel gets there. It's so cool like how it connects. Like you would think he's a bad guy just like not learning anything going there fighting them. But if you just really like paid attention, you would see like how fucking cool it is.
And then when he leaves and it's there's nothing going on for a moment, and then he flies down from the stars, like you said, on his
It,
horse.
how cool the lower part is, by the way. You obviously like know how fucking cool he is by just looking at him.
Oh yeah, he's got probably the coolest armor in the game. He
I
and on top of that, when he was fighting Malenia in Caelid, she just dropped the Scarlet Rot all in Caelid, all on him, and he still survived. He still didn't die. Like that's crazy.
he, he really is cool motherfucker. But it was like a little weird with him and the horse, so that always threw me off. I always laughed at that and
The
like took
little
away the
horse.
how serious it was for me.
Hey man, the man loved his horse.
He did.
That horse had stuck with him throughout all those years. He was
See,
like, I'm
I
gonna
want to
make sure I can keep this. This is my steed.
see. I want to throw him in S tier, but I also want to make another tier above S tier. But we can do that after we relocate them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I think his boss fight was his boss fight's the boss fight that everyone talks about. Everyone talks about Radahn's boss fight. Everyone is like, "Hey, did you fight the boss yet?" I remember when you and Blaze were getting, "Hey, did you fight that boss yet?" No, go and fight that boss right now. And it was hype. It was really hype. Next, we have the Ancestral Ancestor.
That was pretty cool for like the first 5 seconds.
He was,
You know
I
what I
didn't.
mean?
I know I said his name wrong. It's not the Ancest.
I think that was it.
I I know I announced the first one. Anyways, he reminded me of like a reindeer, like Santa Claus's reindeer. How he would prance in the air to come at you, like to dive bomb you, and you would just roll out of the way, hit him a couple times, and then he would just do it again. I don't think there was much to this boss fight. It didn't take me that long to beat him. He did have a giant arena though that was pretty cool. It was in this like dark cave, and you have to, in order to actually start the boss fight too, you have to go find his dead body, and then you just kind of teleport to the fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you have to light up the 6 things too.
Yeah. There was a
Fires.
lot that went to this boss fight, but I think the actual boss fight was it wasn't anything that was too difficult.
It was the most okay boss fight I've ever encountered.
I think he should be in C tier.
I could see him in D, but I'll put him in C.
C
He's fine.
tier. Next, we have Rennala.
Nothing beats that motherfucking backdrop with the moon in the back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I like the when you first fight her and all the kids are in the little like library looking room and
It
they're
was
all
very
like
creepy.
singing and it was real creepy, yeah. And you didn't know what was going on. And she's just floating in the air and you knock her down, you just beat the crap out of her, and then when you get her health down, you're like, oh, okay, that's it. The boss is over. And then when you teleport to that arena, and like you said, the moon is there, and she charges up that beam, and you're like, what is she doing? And then she blasts you with it. It's pretty cool. It's really cool. I would say the boss arena is on par with the Coliseum.
Definitely.
Uh, I don't think I don't think her boss fight is as cool as the Coliseums though, or Maliketh's. I think fighting her, like actually fighting her, I don't think that she was that big of a deal. She didn't really.
I really like the horror aspect to the first part of it though. I was very creepy. The cutscene
Oh
when you
yeah,
walk in, grabs your leg.
yeah,
I really liked that. And the transition to where she was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna take it seriously now."
yeah.
It was really. I'd say A tier.
I was also thinking A tier. I'm gonna just throw it in the back of A tier right now, and like you said, we'll go through after. What do you remember about Rykard?
He's a gimmick boss.
Very
I
gimmick.
don't really know what that means, but I know people say that.
He is the
But
only boss
really,
in the game that you need the serpent blade in order to fight, and it only works for his boss fight.
yeah, I found that cool as fuck. I know a lot of people didn't like that. Even though you can use your weapon if you really want to.
Yeah, but eh, eh. I know a lot of people had a lot of trouble with this boss. Did you have any trouble with this boss?
At first, yeah. I
I
remember
Go ahead.
I remember I really like playing against him though. Like his first stage was like very easy to me, but it was just the second stage that always fucked me up with those fucking floating skulls.
Yeah, the flying
All that.
skulls. That's what always get me.
Very
I
But
remember.
wise, pulling the
Yeah,
sword out of his throat, revealing that there's a face behind the fucking snake. The fact that it's a snake. The whatever the fuck we're in, the chandeliers in hell with walking on skulls.
yeah,
Oh my god.
yeah. It
It
was
was good.
cool.
It was a good game.
It was really cool. I also want to put him in A or S.
I'd say S. And let's add that tier above S. Double S.
Yeah, let's get rid of F tier because F tier really doesn't. We don't need a F tier.
Yeah, there really
We'll
isn't a
add double S
bad design, I guess.
and do that and put that above because we didn't really need a F tier. So who would you put in the double S tier?
Yeah, I think I got a few choices I want to make right here throughout the entire board. I would put
Okay.
Dragonlord and Maliketh in double S. Leave them there. Drag the Elden Beast down to A tier and bring Rennala up to S tier. That's how I'm feeling right now.
I feel that. I
Because I know
like
you
that.
said
I
put
like
Rennala in,
having the double S. Yeah,
but
I like the double S because I felt like she wasn't the greatest boss. You know what I mean? I was looking at the other bosses and I was like, she's not as cool as these bosses though. But now that we have the double S tier, I feel nice. Like I feel good putting her in the S tier.
I'd say because I'm looking at Astel too, and I kind of want to move him up to S2 above Rennala.
Mm, I don't remember much from his boss fight. I remember dying a lot, but it was because he would always do that move where he would come in, and if he got you, he would just crush you with his mouth, and you just died. So
But the
um,
look the guy has,
that's
the
yeah.
skull,
The skull, the stars, like you were talking about. He has like he has the whole galaxy. It like it's like the entire galaxy is just there. Like he's in. You're convincing me. You're convincing me. Yeah, I liked his boss fight more than Ronaldo's. I'll put him above Rennala. I'm looking at Radahn, and I'm like, do I want to move Radahn to double S tier?
Yeah, I'd definitely say double S. I could see him being in front of Maliketh.
Because
Kind of
yeah,
spectacle
I was thinking that
wise.
while fighting Maliketh, like Maliketh's arena is really small. It's really
I was thinking that
small.
too. The arena in Maliketh's place is not the coolest. Fell off a couple
It's
times.
it's not, but he himself is what makes the boss fight cool. It's not the
Yeah.
arena, it's the boss himself. But with Radahn's case, he has the whole festival. And it's not just you fighting him. You have like everybody. You have like four NPCs that you can just summon in to just try to help you fight this man. And it's just crazy. And he's just shooting meteors at you the entire time. And like we said earlier, when he flies up into the sky and you're like, is that it? And then he just, bam, just crashes down like a comet. And you don't expect it. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, he's definitely the most memorable boss from the game.
He is. Put him in the double S. The rest, I don't really. I think the rest are fine. Honestly, I don't really want to move anybody else. There isn't really anybody that I would tier up or down. How are you feeling about the list so far?
Yeah, I'm thinking it looks good now.
All right. Well, if that's it, then we're good. That is the Elden Ring tier list, or boss tier list. Thank you, Carson, for being here to help me. Because it's been over a year since I've beaten these bosses, so I don't remember any of their names that you could tell, but I remember the bosses themselves, and I feel like that's more important.
Yes.
So, again, thank you for helping me with this tier list. Is there any closing words that you would like before I end the video?
Boats. What are you gonna do?
All right, catch you in the next one.